Hi guys, back in the workshop this morning. This morning's project is some gear swing test on the plug-in wing CARF Corsair. I always try to pay a lot of attention to the air system for obvious reasons. Finally got everything in the airplane tubing wise, and uh, we're using the UP3 valve, which has served me well over the years. Uh, the ones that are capped off are because I'm using a manifold system from Jet Model Products, which I'll show you. The manifold keeps me from using a dozen T's. It's the first time I've tried it. So far, so good. If you'll notice the little black caps up here, those are capped off temporarily as they'll be going to the tail wheel and tail wheel doors in the fuse. Right now I'm just testing the center section. Um, I've had a couple of buddies ask me why I used all black tubing. Am I just a glutton for punishment? Well, I guess in this case I am. For scale reasons, I wanted black tubing up in the wheel bays because it better simulates hydraulic lines, in my opinion. So I've used all black and I've managed to get by with it so far. I've got the deli brake lines run. Wheel wells are detailed to a kind of a medium level for me, and where I'm happy with it. Had to make some clearance cuts on the doors, as you see there. Um, anyway, let's give this thing a swing and see what we've got here. We're just manually operating the UP3 at this time. Okay, gear up and doors closed. My goal was to get a more of a realistic upswing as you're taking off, and not just have them slam into the bays as I've seen. Uh, on the downstroke, obviously the airplane is far out and away, and it's not that visible, so I'm not as concerned with the timing of that. Let's go back to the down position and see what we've got here. You'll notice on the UP3 valve, I've got it marked for doors closed, doors open, up and down, so forth. The the needle valves that control the door's speed are very sensitive, and it requires quite a bit of fiddling to get that right. And I'm moving them in very small increments. Then when you tighten the steel nut behind it, sometimes that throws off your adjustment, and you have to compensate for that as well. So I've got quite a few hours just fooling with the doors, but so far I'm pretty close. I always pressure test the valve underwater in my sink, and I did find a leak on an older valve that I had. And so by pressure testing all the components underwater, you will find a leak. And a leak will not fix itself, and it may not be a horrible leak, but my goal is to get it as leak free as possible. Now, what I have noticed is that with the best work, you will get some seepage over time. Not what I deem a leak, but still a little bit of seepage. But keeping in mind, we're only in the air for 10 or 12 minutes max. If she holds a good 190 pounds over half a day, 12 hours, you can be pretty satisfied that you don't have any major leaks. What I have found is if you have a leak, you will notice the 100 pound of pressure drop pretty significantly down to 40 or 50 pounds within just a few hours. When I was doing the test, I used a test canister for air, and I noticed that the canister is leaking where the solder joint is, which is not a big deal because this is a test canister. But again, the actual flight cylinder that's in the fuselage will be tested once again underwater to make sure that everything is good to go. This also gives me an opportunity to check pressure, which I've got a temporary gauge hooked up here. Uses around 20-25 pounds a cycle. So you want to use as much volume as you possibly can air-wise. And it seems reliable down to around 60 pounds or so. It starts moving pretty slow at that point, so I would think that's kind of the danger zone air pressure wise. Let's run it back up and see what we've got here. You'll notice that the left gear just brushes the door as it's going up and down. It's not anything egregious that will cause a problem. The gear installation in the CARF Corsair is so bloody tight. It's just as in the real airplane. There's actually even a piece of ply in the back of the wheel well that is greased in the real airplane that will enable the wheel to fit up into the well just a little better, but it's actually that tight, full scale and model, when things go up, and to get the doors fitting as best you can. These are not perfect, but they are satisfactory for my needs. Again, the UP3 has performed over the years for me pretty well, handles the sequencing duties. And what I found is if you take your time and just methodically check all the cylinders, check all the different circuits, make sure she holds air, that you'll be rewarded with a pretty trouble-free air system. Just as a side note, I use nothing but the really high-end air tubing. I've not had luck with Robart tubing. It tends, in my opinion, to dry rot over the years, becomes really spongy and stretchy. But the higher end tubing, such that is available from BVM, DreamWorks, and other sources, has done well over the years. And when you go to pull it off of the valve, you will actually have to cut it off. You can't just pull it off. Whereas with the Robart line, you can just easily pull that on and off after a year or two. So that's just my opinion. Your mileage may vary, as they say. Thanks for hanging in there. I know my video skills are pretty lacking, and camera shakes a good bit, but thought you guys might be interested in see a little progress on the plug-in wing here. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.